Interested in color grading your footage? Then this conversation with Goran from Lutify Me might be valuable for you.
The Cinema 5D virtual show is brought to you by B&H, the professional source for all your video needs. CVP, the leading specialist in creative cine, video and photo solutions. Tilta, arm your camera. Blackmagic Design, creating amazing solutions for film, post-production, and television. And Atomos, better monitoring, better recording.
Hi, I'm Johnny from Cinema 5D and welcome to another video in our virtual show. And today I'm with Goran. Goran, how are you?
Hi, Johnny. Fine. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You're most and very, very much welcome. And Goran, you're the owner of Lutify.me. In a nutshell, what is Lutify.me?
Yeah, so we're a company based in out of Tel Aviv in Israel, and we've set ourselves a goal to make color grading a bit more accessible and easier for photographers and filmmakers of all levels.
So obviously you identified a need for something. And that's why it drove you to create your company and your website. What was this something?
Yeah, it's an interesting story actually, because at the time I was offering these workshops where I was teaching photographers of all levels lighting and things related to fashion photography. And one of the questions that I was always getting is, how do you make your color grades? How did you edit this image? And that was the trigger for me to begin this journey of Lutify Me.
Now, many are doing LUTs and selling LUTs. Actually, it became incredibly fashionable to sell LUTs. We will talk about the quality of those LUTs in a second, but what is the unique selling point for the LUTs that you make at Lutify Me? And also, I think we should also mention that it's not only LUTs, you also have an app.
Yeah, that is correct. So to address the first part of your question, all of our LUTs come from being previously used on commercial projects. So we do not sell or publish a LUT before we ourselves internally have used it commercially for different clients and have tested it very vigorously. So I would say that's the main difference between the LUTs that we make and other LUTs out there. And to the second part of your question, as you mentioned, yeah, we also have a cloud app, which is called LUTs Previewer. And that is a complementary app to our 3D LUTs grading packages, which basically allows you to easily go through the LUTs, not just our LUTs, any LUTs that you might have, and preview them very quickly to decide which one will work best for your footage or best for your images. And also it allows you to mix and match different LUTs, combine them together, and basically use it as a sort of creative playground to create new and exciting looks in a very visual way.
I'm not a colorist, unfortunately. So obviously I might be one of your clients when it comes to LUTs. But if you can enlighten us a little bit about the big difference when you're using LUTs on a project or when you're using a proper colorist, what would be the main difference between those two methods?
Well, obviously, if you can work with a colorist, that is something I would strongly suggest. Not only for the added value that the colorist will offer your project, but also because you will learn a lot in the process, and you yourself will get better when you work with a colorist, because you will see how things work, how the colorist approaches things, and you will learn a lot about the color grading process, and that will make you a better filmmaker because you will be in a position to take better decisions and even shoot better to make it easier for your colorist to do their job. But if you cannot afford a colorist, or if you have a very tight turnaround and you need to get the job done quickly, LUTs can take you, I would say, 80% of the way very easily, very quickly, and without having to have a great amount of knowledge. So I would say that's the main advantage of LUTs. Having said that, even a colorist, when they work on your project, will probably use LUTs, be it technical LUTs or creative LUTs, because LUT is just a tool like any other tool that they may be using, and sometimes it is the right tool, and if it saves time for them, they will for sure base some of their work off a LUT they might have.
So as I mentioned before, there are many people who are selling LUTs. It's actually it's unbelievable. I remember a few years ago when it was very difficult to find LUTs. Now everybody or many would like to work with a log picture profile. So obviously, if there's a need, there's a solution, and the solution is to sell LUTs. What will make a LUT a good one if I have to compare it to other less good in the market?
Well, first of all, you would want to make sure that the LUT doesn't do any weird things. So, for example, sometimes when you're creating a look, it might be beneficial to crush the blacks or even blow out the highlights. And many LUTs I've seen will be based off of that look. Because it worked nicely for that one particular image, but then when you try to use it in different scenes or different shots or different images, it just doesn't work because the LUT is too strong, the effect is too pronounced, and basically everything goes weird and breaks out. So the very first thing I would say what makes a LUT a good one is first that it tries to use as less destructive actions as possible. So that would be one. The second thing for making a good LUT would be to make sure that it works properly in as wide as possible amount of different lighting situations, because sometimes you will find that LUTs work very well for warm lighting situations, but they do not work at all for cold lighting situations. Obviously, there will be a very big difference between these two, and sometimes a certain LUT is just not suitable for certain lighting conditions, but you do want to make sure when making a LUT that is not based off of extreme white balance values or stuff like that. Then you want to make sure that the roll-off into highlights is pleasant, because often your LUTs will be used with lower end cameras, so you want to make sure that you handle that. You also want to make sure that the LUT does not crush blacks. And I myself think that it's much more preferable to not bake the LUT into a log conversion function, because when you do so, you're limiting yourself effectively to one specific look. Now, that might work very well for your camera or for your footage, but if you want more control over the process, if these two functions are baked into one, that may not be possible. And for example, low light situations are the perfect example of where you might not want to use the log conversion function as it is, and you may want to dial it back a bit, because otherwise you may come with a shot that is too dark. So when you separate the log conversion from the creative part of the LUT, basically you offer the client or you offer the user a much wider possibilities, much more choice, and I would say that's a much healthier approach to color grading.
Just to make it a bit clearer and more simplified, are you talking now about two different ways to create a LUT, or let's say to consume a LUT? One that already has the equalization to Rec 709 built in and the creative LUT together, and the other is kind of separated, that the first step will be to equalize to Rec 709, and then on top you will put the creative LUT. Am I right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And as you were saying what you were saying, I just thought of another option or another scenario where you do want to separate the two. because if you're baking log transfer or normalization into Rec 709, basically you've locked yourself in the beginning of your workflow to Rec 709 color space. And you never know if you will get that call at some point on, and your work might be projected on a proper P3 projector, and then basically you would have to regrade the project from scratch because you've locked yourself into Rec 709 space from the beginning. But if you separate these two, it might be later on possible simply to change the log transfer function and normalize into P3 color primaries instead of Rec 709, and you would have to do much less regrading, and in some cases probably even do some minimal changes and call it a day.
Again, just for those who are not familiar with the terminology we are using, in a sentence, what is a Rec 709 color space?
A Rec 709 would be a color space which is the standard of the HD TV sets. It is a standard that goes long way back. It is somewhat equivalent to sRGB that people might be familiar from their computer screens. The difference between the two would be a slightly different gamma. With the same color primaries. So that would be the Rec 709, and that would be the de facto standard of TV broadcasting.
Thank you about this introduction of LUTs, and I want to move a little bit and talk about Lutify.me. When was the kind of your breakout? When were you discovered? What was the one time that actually your LUTs became really popular?
So that happened during, I think it was 2016 when Red launched their new helium sensors. And so what they did is they filmed this short film named The Underdog. Johnny Mass was the director, Jared Fadell was the DP on that project, and they shot it with this new helium sensor, and for the short film they used our LUTs to color grade the film. They had 24 hours from the moment that they received the camera until the moment that they had to deliver the film. So they had to do a very quick turnaround, and to achieve the desired look they used our LUTs. And basically when that footage came out, that was the big breakthrough for us because that's when a larger amount of audience experienced our LUTs and saw our LUTs in action.
When it comes to the cloud app, what feedback do you hear from people? Because obviously people are not so used to this type of workflow, but in a way, of course, it makes a lot of sense. But I think it's also worth mentioning that for now, you have to export a photo from your project or from your shot in order to grade it. Yeah. So just to elaborate a little bit about the cloud app.
So typically your color grading session will begin once your edit is locked in place. So you will first want to edit your footage, and once it's locked and probably approved, then it will go into a color grading session. At that stage, what will usually happen is that the colorist would start working on their footage. They would create these different looks, and they might take screenshots and share it with the team to get their feedback of some sort if they're not present in the coloring room. So we kind of, with the LUTs previewer, we want to enter into that stage. So basically once your edit is locked in place, then what you would want to do is export ungraded stills from your footage, and then work with them in the previewer to decide what would be the creative direction for your shot and which LUT to use. Because in most software, LUTs are pretty much black boxes. You do not get a proper preview, at least until you apply a LUT. And when you have many LUTs and you want to decide which one would be best for my footage, it gets pretty tedious going a LUT through a LUT through a LUT through a LUT to select the one that works for you, and it can take a long time. So we want to make it much simpler. So you've exported still photos from your edit. By the way, we support a wide range of still formats, be it DPX, TIFF, JPEGs, PNGs. We support even RAW files from still cameras. So you would export these stills and then you would import them into the previewer. And in the previewer, you get a preview of everything that is about to happen. So when you open a category of LUTs, you get these thumbnails previews in a moment, instantly. And you instantly know which one will work best for you. Now, the real strength of LUTs Previewer, in my opinion, is when you want to create something new and you want to create a new look and you've applied already one LUT, and then you say yourself, okay, what will happen if I try to combine this LUT with that LUT? So you go to another category, you just add another layer, and then you instantly get a preview of what would be the combination of these two LUTs. And if you change the opacity of one of them, then these previews are automatically updated in real time. So you can use it as a sort of infinite creative playground to create different new looks. And we were actually very surprised that most of the clients that are using our LUTs Previewer are actually using it that way to create new looks out of the LUTs that they already have.
Is the LUT Previewer free?
LUT Previewer is offered for free for all current clients. So a person that's not our client, they can get a 14-day trial. They can experience the LUTs that we offer. They can experience the app for 14 days. And they can even create their own LUTs and export 5 of them for free. But after that, they would have to have one of the color grading packages to use the previewer.
When it comes to future plans, is there anything you can share with us?
Yeah, but we're working on a new and very exciting product that I'm super excited about. We're aiming to launch it early autumn. And all I can say is that the new product is a product that will allow filmmakers and photographers of all levels and all experiences create amazingly cinematic looks in a matter of moments with utmost simplicity and speed. And it will also make the entire color grading process much easier.
So all I can say, thank you very much for thinking of me. I'm exactly the client, the type of client who will look for such a product. By the way, is it going to be, again, cloud app or something that you'll have to download and install?
Initially, it will be a cloud app. Everything will be in a cloud because we believe that either you have everything in one place and organized, or you have a mess. So the cloud will be running. So the app will be running in a cloud, but we do intend to offer a desktop version of the app, and we do intend to offer a limited functionality mobile app. But both of these will talk to the cloud and sync with the cloud.
Goran, I'm much wiser now about color grading than before 20 minutes ago. Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge with us. And if there's anything else that you would like to say as a closing sentence, I'm happy to hear.
I just think that what you're doing here is a great thing and a great opportunity for other filmmakers and other fellow members of the cinematography and filmmaking community. So thank you very much, guys, for this opportunity, and I deeply appreciate it.
Goran, thank you very much for being with us. Guys, thank you very much for watching. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.